Hey everybody, welcome to the Growing the Tribe stream. I apologize, I am a little bit late, and I am actually going to stall a little bit. Yeah, I know. It's 15 minutes late, and I'm usually not late, because what I'm currently doing right now is uploading the most recent episode of Growing the Tribe. And I kind of wanted to have that up before I actually started the next session. So I'm currently waiting on some upload things, but I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. It's already 15 minutes in. So I'm going to give some people a chance to kind of trickle in, and I'll go over the rules and kind of review some of the stuff that we do. So for those of you that are old hands at this, this is, you already know, this is the Growing the Tribe stream. This is a role-playing game that I play with you guys that helps shape the narrative for my Growing the Tribe series. And I say this ahead of time, I do tweak some of the events to make things happen a bit more smoothly. And to like make certain things a little bit more dramatic, to take some time to have a little bit better lines than the things I make up on the spot. And the way that it works is basically you guys decide the actions of one Snotius, and Snotius is the ruler of Snotopia, the capital of which is Snotantinople. He is a Snotling that has won every fight that he's been in and has mutated and grown to, I guess, what we've been calling him a Grotling. And he has just had and he's been ruling and had a bunch of adventures. And most recently, he had a huge victory over the Humies at the Battle of Big Cave. And that's the episode that I'm uploading right now. And at the moment, he has now gathered his Snotlings together and is setting off for adventure. So the way it works as far as how you guys take actions is that basically chat kind of democratically decides the next action. However, if democracy is not for you and you'd like to have a dictatorship of you, you can do a donation and do a super chat that basically unilaterally decides the next action of Snotius. This could also happen if, like, hey, we're like in the middle of doing something, but you want this is a good way to like get Snotius to do something fairly complicated. So if it's like we're in Snotantinople and Snotius is doing something, it's like, well, I want him to do this thing, and it's a little bit weird or off topic. That's a good way to get stuff in. The other thing I would ask is that people who do decide to donate, I do ask that people do not try to counter donate. Like if somebody's like, I want Snotius to jump up and down and talk funny, or you guys can pay to have Snotius do whatever. And then somebody's like, I want Snotius to not do that. I want him to stand still and not do anything. Please do not spend your money to cancel out other people's, because I want people to get value out of their donations. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to, looks like we got a fair number of people now. Uh-oh. It says my connection is unstable. You guys still hearing me? Connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Can anyone still hear me? Just checking up and make sure everyone can still hear me, because it's telling me my connection is unstable. Okay, that it just doesn't mean anything. Cool. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't talking to nobody. So yeah, if new people come in and are late to the party, please inform them of what's been going on. Now, I'm actually trying to remember exactly where we were at the end of our last session, because you guys won the fight with the against the Humies, and I think the plan was to go back to the river and start exploring new areas. Yeah, you guys, that was basically what happened. Is you guys set off on the raft, and you had all of the named characters. And I'm trying to remember the number of snotlings you had with you. I want to say it was like you had all of the named characters. You had you didn't have Snotbow because I think he's running because he ended up being left behind at Skullstanbull to rule that, if I remember. Yeah, no Snotbull. I think you had 15 because I think you took a bunch of guys. So Snotbow and his contingent of commando snotlings are not with you at the moment. You have Stinky and DeBrain. You have Tree Climber. You don't have Punch and Bag, Red Shirt 2, or Steve. Yeah, you had 2 extra grots that popped up, and I can't remember what their name. Did we decide on names, or are we going to next time? I couldn't. Oh, DeFast and DeFurious. That's it. Okay. Apologies. Like I said, I was working on the video for today. It is actually still uploading because it's a big freaking file. But I'm going to be kind of doing that, like getting that uploaded while we're talking on here. Okay. So you guys are heading down the river once again, and you're kind of picking up where you left off. So right now you are sailing. You're sailing past the area where you first saw the Humies. So the area with the big bugs that used to be kind of the big threat to Snotopia, the big threat to Snotantinople, you're passing by that area. And as you go on, you're still kind of in a wooded area. And you kind of go through a thick area of the woods as the river, or river, I put in quotation marks because it's not that big. This is more like a big creek that you could probably put like a canoe or a kayak on. And it's fine for you guys to have a raft and to ride out on, but it's not the most navigable of rivers. So the river begins kind of, the ground begins to get a little bit more rocky, and you guys are being swept along a little bit faster. All right. So a little bit of turbulence. You also have, of course, the hazards of river monsters. They are, of course, a constant danger. So we're going to be dealing with a little bit of turbulence. Is there any instruction that Snotius wants to give to his to DeFast, DeFurious, Stinky, and DeBrain, and the other Snots that are in his contingent? Braced Rapids. This is bad day to watch the stream. Okay, hold on. Everyone kind of brace and hold on tight. I got a couple of that. All right, so we're going to do, you guys are going to have some pretty good opportunity to hold on. One second, I'm getting my dice roller set up. Okay, so you managed to hold on nice and tight. Snotius is holding on nice and tight. How do the Snotlings do in general? All right, so as you hit the rapids, the Snotlings don't do a great job with. They basically, you guys are kind of pontooning. You're kind of punting, not pontooning. You're punting kind of along the creek. They're kind of warding off rocks and things with just some sticks, and you're kind of pushing along. The sticks are kind of reaching down and pushing you guys along. And you have 3 snotlings that have the sticks that are kind of pushing you along. And as they miss one of the rocks in the rapids, and you smash up against it. Most of the snotlings are able to hold on, but the 3 that are kind of steering you guys get jostled and flung off of the boat. So now you guys are dealing with 3 that have now gone into the water. So what do you want to do? What do you want to do? You can. The snotlings are, you have more snotlings. You can try to get them back. You do potentially risk river monsters. All right, you want to try to. All right, got used a stick. Got somebody using a stick to help pull them back on board. Family shall bring them back. Laugh at them. All right, we kind of got help them or let them. Okay, well let's. I think we're going with help them using kind of the stick, or let them go. We'll see what we can do to save some of them. Help them. I think we're mostly going with help. All right. Can we get 3 names? Let's get 3 names. Again, naming characters can also be something that you donate. It doesn't have to be an action. You can also donate to name people. Otherwise, I'm kind of gonna pick the ones that I think are funniest. So we need names for 3 snotlings, and let's see if we can save them. I'm gonna pull up a little document to keep track of names and things. Oh, Snorsleepa. Yeah, Snorsleepa is a pretty good one. I'm gonna get Snorsleepa in there. He was a character from my Discord roleplays. Bash Skull. We don't have a Bash Skull yet. That's not a bad one. Splish Splash and Soggy is let's go Snorsleepa, Bash Skull, and Soggy, because I think Soggy's the funniest name. I'm gonna go with that. Bash Skull, Snorsleepa, and Soggy. All right. So I'm going to retroactively say that this all occurred because Snorsleepa fell asleep at his post and missed the rock. He got flung in and was awakened to the unpleasant sensation of cold water. All right. Now we're going to roll to try to see how many we can get back up here. So let's see if the river monsters notice. Okay. They're not there yet, but you do see some fins in the water. You do see some dorsal fins kind of stick up out of the water, and you see like movement as something's kind of starting to swim towards the snotlings. All right. Rolling to rescue them. All right. So Snottius grabs the stick, grabs a long stick. I'm going to say he uses his own spear on this one because he has a really, really long spear. And he grabs onto one of the ropes that are holding the raft together, and he sweeps out and basically dips his stick into the water and kind of drags it back towards the raft, almost like a big scoop. Almost like he's got a big scoop, and he kind of pulls it all the way back, and the snotlings kind of get caught on it, they kind of drape their stomachs over the stick as Snottius pulls them back in and just dumps all 3 onto the water. So if you guys were curious, I rolled a 16 to see if there were river monsters about, and then I was like, all right, Snotties is going to try to save him. What does he roll? 20. So he critical 20 on saving. Snorsleep lives, and as soon as he is plopped down onto the deck of the raft, he immediately falls asleep, curling up next to his rock on a stick, and using the rock at the end of the stick as a pillow. Snottius gives him a flick to his ear and makes him wake up.
Get up, you lazy snot! Come on! I saved you for beer, fish food, and now's not the time for sleeping.
Soggy, of course, just happened to be the snotling who was wearing the most clothes before he tumbled out. So we're gonna see how the rest of this rough patch goes, and the rest of the rough patch is actually fairly uneventful. The snotling saw what happened, and you get some new fenders, essentially new stick fenders that are keeping the raft from smashing into new rocks. So as things go on, you kind of pass through this deeper section of the forest where, like, the trees are really big, they're really dense. It kind of looks like the area where you guys slew the elk antelope sort of creature. And the creek widens, and at this point, one might be able to call it like a small river. One might be able to call it a small river, and you guys, the river kind of becomes much more calm. It's not quite as fast moving, and let's see. And it's pretty quiet. Like, the area that you're in right now is like dead quiet. Is like really, really, like, you don't even hear like birds and stuff. You kind of feel a little odd. It's like the water's calm. You're kind of moving along. The only thing you're hearing is kind of the bloop of the snotlings as they're kind of pushing you along. And as the water slows, the snotlings who have the sticks can no longer reach the bottom of the water. Like, their sticks kind of just go in, and they're not pushing along anymore. So they're kind of still paddling along. They're using their sticks to paddle, which you can do. It's not great, but you can kind of paddle along that way. So it is starting to get a little dark at this point. You're not in fast water anymore. You could pull off to the side, and because you guys left, my memory is you guys left fairly late. I might be wrong about that. Are there any animals that we see? No, you don't see like anything. If you want to examine something specifically, you don't just kind of passively see anything. If you guys like want to do like a search or something, or you want to look at the trees? Do you want to look in the water? What do you want to scope out? Okay, pull up shore and set up camp. Is anybody interested in scoping the place out? Find a good place to camp. That seems to be the general consensus, is find a good place to camp. All right. I also might have to at some point go grab something to drink and something to eat, because, again, I pushed right up onto the limit as far as making my video, which I am going to try to get uploaded as we're playing this game. Okay, so you guys are pulling off to go set up camp. You get a little bit of the creeps because it's a really dark part of the forest. Let's see. I'm going to have you guys roll to see if you see anything. Okay, you're setting up camp. This is a bit of an important bit. Are we starting a fire? Are we starting a fire at this point? Could you take on a bear-like creature at your current state? You guys have guns now. you guys have las guns and a Berna. You could potentially kill a bear if it didn't get the jump on you. I mean, if you guys hit all of your shots and hit it and do enough damage to it, yeah, you could kill it. However, if it gets the jump on you, odds are it's going to kill you. All right. So, are you guys starting a fire? No fire. We got yes fire or no fire. Let's do a vote on that. We're definitely pulling off to start camp. Are we going yes fire or no fire? One yes fire, one no, one yes. Have good watches with fire. Use las gun to start fire. Fire important? Yes, fire, fire, fire. I think the majority is fire. All right. So you start a fire, which is not very hard because you do have las guns. You find some dry stuff. You set up camp on the edge of the woods, and you have a couple of snotlings who are like digging burrows, and you kind of have like like as they dig the dirt out of the riverbank, they kind of pile it up into a low wall so that you guys basically get one big burrow, so you can all kind of pile in and sleep. It's not going to be you don't have enough time to build like a nice boss hut, nor do you have like tents. So are we going to make? We've got a couple people who have said who have said they want to tell stories. All right. So as you guys, well, first of all, I want to give a detail as you guys start the fire. As you start the fire, you do see eyes like reflected in the darkness out in the woods. It's a little hard to tell how big these creatures are because some of them are far away and some of them are close up. Some of them are high up, some of them are low, but you don't know, is that thing really big or is it a thing in the tree? Not very clear. So, but you got critters out in the woods. They currently seem to just be watching you, and a few of like the eyes will just kind of wink out. And you guys have pretty good night vision, but you can't. The forest is just too dense to get like a good picture of what's out there. All right. So as far as activities for the night, you're setting up. We've gotten some calls for s'mores and stories. I've seen a couple people say that. Are we doing that? Do we want stories? Some people are getting geared up for fighting. Some people want to make s'mores and swap spooky stories. I'm going to give you guys a chance. I'm going to give you 1 second to kind of ponder that. Argue amongst yourselves. I'm working on getting the latest Growing the Tribe video up. So I'll let you guys ponder that. All right. S'mores and stories, ghost stories. All right, s'mores and stories. All right, so what you guys do is you gather around the fire. You have a couple of snotlings who are set to the task of being on watch. Snorsleepa is not on this detail. Snorsleepa, in fact, falls asleep very quickly, and basically a couple of the snotlings kind of do the thing of the first kid to fall asleep at the sleepover. So Snorsleepa is they put his hand in water that got heated by the fire, and then somebody else puts a big gob of mud in his hand and then is using a feather to tickle his nose, so that when he tries to wipe his nose, he just smears mud all over himself. So they're having some fun at his expense. All right, so stories. All right, so Snottius decides that he's actually. Who do we want to tell the story? Do you want just Snottius to tell a story, or do you guys want to pick somebody to tell a different story? Or we can just kind of rotate through. We can do any of those things. What we got? I think actually I like the idea of Snotopia history. So we can do a quick. This will also help people who do not know what the heck's going on. So Snottius, he stands up on a rock, and kind of a big shadow is cast by the fire, and it flickers, and you can see his big shadow kind of moving and dancing behind him as he gestures. And Snottius says,
"Once upon a time, I was me. I popped out the ground, and I knew what I needed to do. I picked me nose, and then I left the very place that would become Snotantinople. At that time, there was just a bunch of mushrooms growing out the ground. But I went forth, and then I crumped the bird boys, even though they burned me in the eyes. And I grabbed them, I killed them, I looted them, and I brought the meat back to Snotantinople. It was then that I got more snotlings popping out the ground. I met Tree Climber real early on. I named him Tree Climber because I made him climb a tree. And with Tree Climber's help, we found the big bugs, and we ambushed them, and we crumped them too, and we made stuff out of the shells of the big bugs. And then everything was going good. Gits was getting smashed, things was going good. But then the bugs attacked us, and there was this one git named Skullbash, who didn't do what I told him to do once. So I bashed him in the skull, and I thought I killed him, but I didn't. He was all lumpy-headed and weird-looking. But, he got the business smashed into him, so he kind of learned something. And then the bugs attacked, and I fought them off, and you know what? So did Skullbash. And I said, you know what? Maybe Skullbash ain't such a git. But then I almost got crumped by one of the bugs, and I kicked Skullbash into the jaws of one of them. But Skullbash was dead hard and didn't get crumped by him. So, I went to sleep at one point. Went back to sleep after the great victory over the bugs. But then, Skullbash was a great big git, and he dumped all the squig dung that the squig farmers had gotten down the entrance to me boss burrow. And it smelled awful, and there was only one thing for me to do. I dug me way through all of the poop. All of it, dug me way through it. And when I dug me way out, stinking and smelling of squig dung, I found that half of the snotlings got taken away. Skullbash had said he was boss, and he went all the way across the river to start Skullstanbull, not Snotantinople. So we had to go show him who was boss, and show him who was crumpier, and show him who was proper. So I takes what we has left, and that was when I met Snotbo. Met him out in the woods, helping me deal with some of the dangerous gittish river monsters. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I killed one of the river monsters, and that was another time that Skullbash was being proper, along with Snotbo and Tree Climber along with me. But I gave Skullbash some proper gubbins, because he seemed like he was starting to act right. But he didn't. He kept acting like a git until he ran off to from Snotantinople to Skullstanbull. So, the time came to deal with Skullbash the traitor. Skullbash said that he wanted me to try to come across the little land bridge they had. They had a bunch of rocks to try to get to Skullstanbull. That would have been a really hard thing to do, because I had all me boys. And then I'd have to run all of them one at a time across this thing and fight all his boys on the other side. So that might have been dangerous. So I challenged Skullbash to fight me. And he comes out on the bridge, and we's fighting. And he's moving a lot better than me on this bridge, on account of he was the one who built this bridge. Then he was cutting away at me flash gubbins, cutting away at me armor. Me stuff was in shreds. But then I remembered that I was the boss. And I went in and I grabbed Skullbash and I headbutted him. And then I lifted him right high into the air. And I brought him down across me knee. And there was a loud crack as I bashed right through his armor, bashed right through his back, and crumped him good. And then I headbutted him again and again until his lumpy skull finally went pop. And then I took his limp, ugly, stupid body and I threw it into the river, right where the big river monsters was. And they grabbed his body and ate it right up. And that was the end of Skullstanbull. Except now Snotbo runs Skullstanbull. Not Snotantinople, he runs Skullstanbull. But maybe I ought to name it something else. Maybe it could be Snotbo Skullbull. I'll figure it out. I'll come up with a better name than that. And that was the story.
And Snottius kind of like finishes and like waits for the oohs and ahs. All right. We got a donation from Yuvath. All right.
It's like, yeah. I headbutted him just like this.
And Snottius kind of reaches over and grabs Stinky. He's like, "Oh, I guess to be part of the story now."
Oh, me head. You know, I did it like that, except it was way messier.
So thank you very much for the donation. And I'm just going to 1 second. Finally, I'm going to put up the other story soon. I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to put up. I think I'm going to post the growing the tribe recent story after this is done. That's just I think I don't want to split my attention. All right, so all of the other snotlings and grots kind of seem impressed. DeBrain kind of walks over to Stinky and says, "You know, Stinky, you deserved every bit of that." So things kind of begin to settle down, and you kind of set up your watches so there's a rotation. And as you're kind of getting ready to go to bed, you hear like a "What?" And one of the snotlings that was on watch is just not there anymore. So you like go over and there's like a you can kind of smell it, and you kind of sniff the air and you smell like a little bit of blood. As and you go over to like the edge of the low wall that you guys had been defending, and there's like a bit of snot blood. I'm gonna roll to see if it was. I'm gonna roll randomly and see if it was one of the guys we just named. Nope. This is just a random snot we haven't named. Anybody want to give a name to the snot that just maybe like Eagle Eye or something? We want a name for the grot that just bit it. Ditto. Ditto's not bad. Got a couple votes for Ditto. Cannot see is not a bad one either. Ditto, cannot see. I got a couple of. We got the most votes for Ditto. Ditto. Okay, we're going with Ditto. So Ditto is gone. Ditto is, you don't see him anywhere, and you guys rouse the camp. Everyone's kind of put on high alert, and you and Tree Climber have the las guns out. You Tree Climber and DeBrain have your las guns out, and you're like scanning. You're scanning the woods. Let's see how you do on your visual. Okay, and you see like this kind of long-armed creature. You have basically like some shadow from the fire, and the creature kind of swings with these long arms. It's brachiating, so it's swinging from tree branch to tree branch, and you see like a shadow pass by. It's pretty big. It looks like it might be bigger than you, but it's hard to tell. So, you guys want to take a shot at it, or you want to try to wait? You want to take a shot at it? Shoot. All right. So you're going to take a shot. DeBrain is going to take a shot, and Tree Climber is going to take a shot, Oh, here we go. Can we have one of the snots fart near the fire and combust next time? Ditto yo. So are you trying, I just want to ask a clarifying question. Are you trying to weaponize the fart, or do you want a snotling to fart and then catch himself on fire because he's being careless? I want to get confirmation. So is this a weapon fart, or is this like a you want him to catch on fire? Just want a fart joke? All right. Well, careless fart, and then we'll see how successful the fart is. All right. Basically, I'm going to call this one. I kind of want to call this one Stinky Junior. This is going to be one of the snots. It's not going to be Stinky of Stinky and DeBrain. But basically, as you guys like, because snotlings are kind of scared. So this snotling gets like kind of frightened and is standing a little too close to the fire as it kind of just goes, and then the fire kind of flares up and catches the seat of the grot and singes it as the snotling and singes it a little bit, which makes it kind of go ah! And like you guys kind of whip around. You and Tree Climber kind of whip around, which throws off your shots as you're taking it at the creature. However, DeBrain is not distracted. He rolled a 19 and basically focuses dead on the creature, and it's just, and you see the thing kind of fall in the woods and a thump. Now you guys are not under any trees. You guys are in a kind of clearing along the riverbank. Like there's like a little bit of a clearing near the riverbank. Yeah, DeBrain has been dead on. Okay, do you guys want to loot the body, or do you guys want to leave it till morning? So those of you who are leaving, I'll see y'all. Okay, loot. Looks like we're looting. Okay, so you head off into the woods, and as you do, you're not like super far in. It wasn't like ways away, but you're now underneath trees. And it is, and kind of getting away from the fire. It's a fair bit darker here, but your eyes also adjust. You guys are low light vision kind of dudes, and you go out to where the beast was, and you see this sort of long-armed, hairy creature with like really sharp claws, and it also has like grasping feet as well, which don't have they don't have claws that are quite as long. And it looks like DeBrain caught this like right in the side of the head, burned a nice neat hole in it, and near the body of this thing, you can also see it has like really sharp teeth. It kind of looks like an orangutan, but is carnivorous and has like dark fur, and like long claws. And you see what's left of Dedo. Looks like it grabbed Dedo and quickly crunched his head so it wouldn't keep making noise. But it is very much dead. All right. All right, so Snodius, as Snodius is like examining the body, another one of these creatures dives down and grabs Snodius underneath by like the back of his by the back of his armor. He's got a modified version of the shark mail armor that the Humies have, and the shark mail armor is a lot damaged, but like it still kind of functions. And he's grabbed and hauled up into the treetops, and it just kind of whoop. So he is now grabbed. It attacked you. It snuck up on you, rolled really well, beat your guys' spot checks, and hauled you up into the trees. All right, are you okay? So is Snodius is going to try to shoot it? Or are we going to try to shoot it while it's holding on to you? You're kind of at an awkward angle, so you're going to be at disadvantage shooting it. The creature is bigger than you. It seems like it's bigger and stronger than you. All right, let's go with shoot it or headbutt it. People are saying bite it. Do you want to try to bite its hand to try to get it to let you go? All right, let's go with shoot. Shoot it, headbutt it, bite its hand, or use the spear. Let's go with that. I'm gonna do so fight, headbutts. That's one. Headbutt, fire, shoot at it, bite it back, bite it. So 2 for bites. Stick it, bite it. Headbutt, no melee, shoot. Headbutt, bite, spear, bite. I think bite seems to be the winning one. All right, so you guys are going to try to bite it and see if you can get it to let you go. All right, you guys just rolled a 1 on trying to bite it. So you move to try to bite it, and basically you're like, I'm going to bite you, and then the creature pulls you up towards its own mouth and chomps down on your head, and the only thing that saves you is you have the helmet of one of the Humies, and this creature chomps into it and immediately cracks the PDF helmet that the guy had. So that was just your critical failure. Now it's going to try to attack you. Okay. So it is holding you with one hand, and you basically so it's holding onto your armor, and you basically with your other 2 hands grab its arm and shove your other hand on the side of its face and try to shove it away from you, so it doesn't get a nice doesn't get another attack on you. It's sort of you've lost your helmet, but you're kind of holding it off at the moment. You guys are going to have to your spear is basically on your back right now. It would be hard for you to pull it out and then use 2 hands to stab it because you're also being held by the thing. It's holding you. It's really going to be I don't know if you guys have ever used a spear, but if somebody's grabbing you, it's really, really hard to use a spear. So you can try to headbutt it again. You can try to kick it. Your legs are still free. You also still have your las gun. which is basically you what you've sort of done is like you have it, and it's kind of like strapped to like a belt sort of thing. Las gun it is. Shoot it. Point blank shot. Kick. Shoot. Shoot. Shoot it. Shoot it. All right, we're going to shoot it. Here we go. Shooting. You're doing real bad. You roll a 2. So like you try to grab for your las gun and the creature like slaps it out of your hand. And the creature basically takes you and because you're fighting back, it basically hurls you to the ground. It like lifts you up with one arm because you're like fighting and like hurls you down onto the ground, and you impact really hard. So you're not in good shape. You got bashed up pretty good. However, once it throws you down because you're giving up a bit of a fight, the other Debrain and Tree Climber are going to take shots. Debrain coming through big and strong here. A Tree Climber shoots and it like whizzes past the thing, and then Debrain rolls an 18 and hits it directly in the chest, and it falls out of the tree and lands. Let's make sure it doesn't land on you. Yeah, the body of this thing lands on top of you. So you are bashed up pretty good. You guys got beat up pretty darn good. Now, a reminder to you guys do have a burrow. You guys do have a burrow that's been dug into the bank of the river. Okay, are we running? Are we getting out of the woods at this point? Are we taking bodies for loot, or are you guys giving up on that? Are we still trying to loot, or are you guys going back to the camp? One for run, loot, take the bodies, take cover in the burrow, give up, make Snots do the work. Bodies, run, no loot, and give up. I think the majority is coming out to calling it. So you're like, all right, maybe. So Snotty Space is like,
oh, don't really get this thing off of me.
And the other Snotlings like drag the body of the thing that crushed you, and yeah, you're not looking real great. You are bashed up something fierce. However, you get to your feet, and the Snotling, you hear like movement in the trees above you, and you're like, no.
Leave the bodies. If they's there in the morning, we'll loot them. If not, sog it. They ain't got no flash gubbins anyway. They just got really sharp bits. Go to the burrow. Go to the burrow.
So you guys run back to the burrow. And another, like, just as you guys are like running away, one of the other Snotlings is grabbed out from the grabbed by one of the other creatures that are in the trees and disappears. Let's get, what do we got for, it wasn't one of the ones that we've named so far. I rolled randomly. It's just one of the guys we haven't named. We want to get another name for out there. We're running and we're back in the burrow. Do you guys want to give a name to the one who died? we got Deado already as one of the ones that died. Who else died? Slip, Crunchy. How many creatures are there? You guys don't know. Grabby, Slippy, Rippo, Runny, Alivey, Deado, Lar. I kind of like Crunchy. Slippy's not bad. But one person said Slippy twice. We got two people saying Crunchy. Got Slippy and Slippo. All right, I'm going to go with Crunchy. We got Deado and Crunchy. So you guys have 13 Snots left, not counting any of the named ones. Una memento. All right. Well, it's been decided. Yuvoth has donated 2. And the name of the dead snotling shall be called Not Alive No More. Not alive no more. All right. So you guys flee the forest and get to the riverbank and head to the burrow. You do have a couple of snotlings that kind of sit at the entrance. Debrain and Tree Climber are on rotation because you guys have the shootas. So if anything shows up, you can blast it. Just double check. Absolutely nothing else happens for that night. It is then dead quiet. You don't even hear stuff happening outside. All right. So I want to check. No, they left it alone. Okay, so you guys wake up the next day. Sun's rising. You're still beat up. Like a lot of you don't have your helmet anymore, and your armor took some damage, but like it's still fairly sturdy. You were saved because you had the armor. You're pretty bashed up, but greenskins do have remarkable powers of recovery. However, this was kind of the first fight that Snottius tried to take and couldn't win. So it's a little bit, you kind of have a somber morning. Like the Snotlings and the Grots are kind of spooked about the monsters in the trees. When you wake up and look around, the areas where you can see farther into the forest, and you don't see any signs of the creatures that you dealt with last night. And the bodies that were there are now not there. They're gone. There's like blood on the ground, but there's no bodies. It looks like something dragged them away. So as per usual, as you guys wake up in the morning and you commemorate the deaths of Deado and Not Alive No More, you solemnly pick your nose. Is there a trail? It looks like they got dragged for a little bit, but then got hauled up off the ground. So it's possible that other tree creatures picked them up and then hauled them up and ran off with them and went off with them. Yep, you guys sadly pick your nose. All right, are you guys resuming your journey, or are you going to try to follow the tree monsters? Some people are saying they want to follow the tree monsters. You got beat pretty bad last time. Can I check Can I check mark words on my keyboard, like type a word and see a check mark on it? I don't know what you're asking. I don't see a check mark. I don't know what you're talking about. Resume journey. Are we continuing? Cut our losses. We need to regain our honor. I think people are saying mostly resume the journey. All right. So you guys are like, nah, this is really dangerous. We're getting back on the boat. And so you guys hop on the raft once more, kind of wishing a fond farewell to Dedo and Not Alive No More. Bash Skull. You were able to save Bash Skull, Snore Sleepa, and Soggy. Thank you for the $2 from Uvoth again. Not you, no man. Someone in chat. You didn't appreciate the clarification, and definitely the donation. So I appreciate that for the generosity. Much appreciated. It is somewhat difficult to follow everyone in chat and run the game. So I'm trying to keep that going properly. All right, so you guys are back on the river, and it is now wider. So it actually dawns on you. Let me see if it does dawn on you. Nope, it doesn't dawn on you. Does not dawn on you. You guys do not realize anything. But you continue on your kind of the lazy river, and you're going through the area again. It's fairly dense forest, and you still do not hear a lot of noise. The big thing you don't hear is you don't hear birds. You do hear some insects. You hear some insects, but you don't hear like a lot of the normal noises that you hear. So it might be that the tree creatures are they're just killing off everything in this area, or that they're killing off at least all of the birds and stuff. Let's see if you guys can spot any animals that are around. Yeah, you see some. There are definitely some fish. You don't see any river monsters in this area, but you definitely see some fish swimming around. You see bugs around. You see some small arboreal creatures, kind of like small tree mammals. They're like akin to squirrels, like things like that. Small nimble creatures that are in the trees, but you don't see anything large. You don't see like the sort of elk antelope creature that you saw earlier. You don't see any of the tree monsters. You don't see anything like that. All right, you guys want to try to stab some fish? You guys do have some mushrooms. And you were able to eat that last night, but you don't have food forever. You're going to be good for a couple days, but if you can supplement that might not be a bad idea. All right, so we got a couple of calls for spearing fish. The tree monsters are a ways from Snot-Tantanople. It looks like you are smart enough to realize that they kind of need big enough trees to support them because they're pretty large. And the trees where you are not super thick. They're not as big. It's the denser parts of the forest are kind of where these things are. So it's a little ways away, like a day on the river away from Snot-Tantanople. And if you're on the water, that's about like 1 to 2 miles an hour. I'm going to call it 2 miles an hour. You guys were going at a pretty good pace. 2 miles an hour down the water, and you don't stop, and you went for about 12 hours. So like 24 miles away. Somebody who knows the conversion can turn that into into kilometers. I think that might be like 40 kilometers. I want to say something like that. It's a little ways away. They're not right on your doorstep. All right, so we're going to try to stab some fish. You got your big, long, pokey spear. A couple of other snotlings, we're going to say like 5 snotlings have spears or sticks that they can use for stabbing. So we're going to have you go, and you have kind of the best odds for it. But the other little snotlings are going to go. And we're going to give the ones that we're going to give Soggy, we're going to give the named snotlings, then we'll get 2 more named snotlings, and they'll be guys that we can use. All right, so you, Snotling. I'm going to say that was Bash Skull, Snore Sleepa, and Soggy. All right, so you have your big stick, and it's actually a little awkward because the fish that you're dealing with are actually kind of small, and you got like a really big spear. So you thrust into the water a couple times and like don't have much in the way of success. Bash Skull doesn't really have much success. He kind of stabs at the water. Snore Sleepa and Soggy like get to the edge of the boat, and they like have their sticks, and they're like waiting, and they have them like held high above their heads, and they're ready to plunge them into the water. And then Snore Sleepa falls asleep, and in the middle of waiting for the fish, and like plunges into the water again. Soggy leaps in after him with his own spear and like stabs into the water. You rush over to the side of the raft, and Snore Sleepa and Soggy haul themselves out of the water, and on the end of both of their sticks are big wriggling fish. Somehow they manage to dead on skewer the fish. So you manage to haul them out, and maybe, just maybe, Snore Sleepa and Soggy might be a little bit more useful than you thought. So you guys kind of get together, and you have like a flat rock that you manage to get from the riverbank, and you are able to kind of construct a little safe area to build a fire. And you get a fire going and are able to start cooking the fish. And you take your share because you're the boss. DeBrain gets the next portion in honor of his excellent marksmanship and saving you. After him comes Tree Climber because he's still a boss. But then of the Snotlings, Snore Sleepa and Soggy get first crack at the fish after the bosses do. And you guys have a pretty satisfying meal with fishes. Let me check. You guys have any other trouble? Okay. After you guys get out eat the fish, and you like throw the remnants of it, like any bones and stuff that you don't eat, you're kind of just tossing it into the water because what else are you going to do with it? Maybe some of the bones are kept for like gubbins or whatever, but a lot of the stuff that you're not eating, you're throwing over the side. And as a result, you do see some river monsters begin to follow the raft. They're not running into it. They're not bumping into you. They're not leaping out of the water at you, but they're like around now. All right, so you guys are sailing down the water, and the forest begins to thin, and you kind of get out of the deep, dark portion of the woods, and you start hearing like birds again. You start seeing them flying overhead. You start seeing other random critters that you see in a typical forest setting. They're like around, so you're not in like the hunting territory of those of the tree monsters. And you're in this area for a decent amount of time. And the forest continues to thin out. All right, I got one call for shooting at the river monsters with your las gun. Do you guys want to try to do that? Do you guys want to try to shoot at the river monsters? Someone's saying don't waste the shots. Stab river monsters. Stabbing the river monster could be a problem because it's bigger than you are. The river monsters are like 6 feet long, and if you stab it, you can get yanked off of the. Like, you're big and you have killed river monsters, but they're still very dangerous. Someone's saying that they'll boil the water and there will be steam everywhere. That will happen. You will send up a big gout of steam. Someone's saying leave it. Someone's saying shoot it. Big fish, big meals, and armor. Is that going to put the boat in danger? It could. If the river monsters decide to, they might ram the. They could. They're big enough. They could ram your vessel and like knock people out of it. Some people are concerned about alerting humies in the area. I think this is kind of a mixed bag, and I think some people are leaning towards leave it alone. I think people are saying leave it alone. All right, so you guys continue sailing. The river monsters are kind of around, and in the distance, you guys see a couple of lines of smoke, not like thick, billowing smoke of like a forest fire, but like kind of the sort of smoke that you see from the fires of Snotantinople. So you guys see some smoke in the distance. Looks like fire that from like a fire pit rather than like fire of a bunch of stuff is on fire. You guys want to go check it out? You guys, people are debating what it is, but we're looking for what. Take a look at a distance. More DACA. Can we have some snotlings scouted out? All right. Do we want to send our named snotlings? Do we want to send Bash, Skull, Snore, Sleepa, and Soggy? We could send them as our scouting party. You could also have Tree climb a tree. So do you want to send Tree climb to try to climb a tree and take a look, or do you want to send the 3 snotlings to go take a look? The trees are not as big right here. The trees it's thinner, and you can actually see in this area if you like look at I guess sort of the skyline of trees. You can tell that there are gaps in the trees in this area. Like they're just areas that there are big clearings. But there are trees that Tree climber can climb. All right, let's take a look. You don't have Snotbow with you. Snotbow is not with you. Chance for send. We got one person saying yes. It's a chance for the 3 named snotlings to earn some honor. Tree Climber goes. Tree Climber, send in the Expendisnots. Stinky, Tree Climber should suffice. No Expendisnots. 3 Snotlings, take a look. Send Tree Climber. Tree Climber. It's a long distance, then it is okay. Yeah, you could send Tree Climber and the 3 Snots. We're kind of split. It's pretty even. Tree Climber first. Don't want to waste Snots unnecessarily. I think that might push Tree Climber over the. You gotta send. We got a couple people now saying send both of them, in case there's trouble, because you guys did run into some pretty serious trouble. Yeah, Tree Climber does also have the Daka if there's trouble. He's got the blast. All right, I'm going to make the executive decision and say they're all going under Tree Climber's supervision. So he's going to climb, and they're kind of going to keep watch and make sure he's okay. All right, so they're going to go. Tree Climber going to climb. Our named Snotlings are going to watch. Okay, so I'm going to cinematically describe what happens. So with Sleep Snora and Soggy and Bash Skull, excuse me, at the foot of the tree, Tree Climber does what he does best. He hasn't been great at shooting recently, and he was kind of bummed that it was DeBrain that saved Snodius and not him. But feeling the bark beneath his fingers, he begins to climb up, and he kind of remembers, like, this was what he was made for. He was made for climbing, and this is what he's good for, and this is how he's going to help Snodius continue to expand Snot-Tantinople. So he goes up into the tree and gazes out in the direction of the fires. And in the distance, Tree Climber sees huge buildings that are bigger and higher than the walls of Snot-Tantinople. And near these buildings, there are big empty spaces where there are plants growing, and all the plants are growing in rows, and they all look the same. And there seem to be different patches that have different plants, but they're all growing in the same rows. And there are roads that are running through this little cluster of buildings. And Tree Climber can see a scattering of Humies down below who are walking around, and one of them seems like it went towards a big machine sort of thing. That's a big, maybe this Humie was a mech, and there's like these large wheels and huge swinging threshing blades and things like that. And the Humie seems to be trying to move this thing around, and there's a loud kind of, and the Humie climbs into the big machine and is and looks like he's driving it. The Humie then stops and pops out, and it almost seems like the Humie was trying to see if the thing worked. So he kind of gives it a thumbs up and then begins wheeling the machine into a building nearby that has these big wide doors, and it kind of wheels this inside. Okay. So Tree Climber gazes at the village, and he's like,
more Humies to snick. I've got to tell Snotius. This might be the next place for conquest for Snotopia. For the glory of Snotopia.
All right, guys. I think I'm going to call it there. I haven't had any lunch. I'm going to call it a little bit early this time. I'm going to work to get the last episode of Growing the Tribe done and get that put up for you guys. So I'm going to apologize in advance for a slightly abbreviated one. This one went for an hour and 20 minutes. Usually I go for an hour and 30. But I think this is a fairly dramatic place to stop. A lot happened. You guys went fishing. You guys got really messed up by the tree monsters. Want to thank you all for hanging out, for playing with me. I hope it was fun. I'm going to have to cut it a little bit short this time. This is kind of where I wanted to stop anyway, was finding the Hume village. All right. So thank you all very much. Hope you all had fun. Hope you all enjoyed yourselves. I'm going to end the stream right here. Appreciate everyone who donated. Uvath and there was, dang it, who was it? Who was the other person who donated? That wasn't Sarah, was it? I don't think it was Sarah. Who was the other It was Uvath donated like 2 or 3 times, at least twice. Who was the other person who donated? Was it Old Man Skeletal donated? Okay, yes, an Old Man Skeletal. So thank you very much to those of you who do. I'm so bad at that, but it is a little difficult because there's no replay for me. Let me take a look. Let me take a look. Do you know what's weird? Do you know what's weird about chat in this? If I wanted to, I could donate money to myself with the way this is set up. But I can't go back, as far as I can tell, I can't scroll back far enough and look at who's donated. That's very strange. Oh, yes. Detoyo also donated. I remember. Yes, Detoyo also donated, so thank you very much. It's just hard to be writing people's names down when people donate and like keep a running thing of that. I just need to do that in the future. I just need to keep better recording of it. But thanks very much to everyone who played. Hope you all had fun. Thanks to everyone who donated. I'm going to get back probably to doing my radio shows. We haven't heard from Cyrus Amani for a while, and we haven't heard from oh my goodness, I'm blanking on his name. Adrian Pius. We haven't heard from Adrian Pius or Cyrus Amani for a while, so they're going to be coming up next before the next time I do another Growing the Tribe episode. So thank you all very much. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all once again, and No Man out.